Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Elevated Woman Feminine Energy Immersion and this special additional summer solstice celebration. So this call is intended for the greater Elevated Woman community, as well as the individuals who are signed up for the year-long immersion, which I'll talk more about a little bit later. But it's a really special call just to celebrate life and celebrate the sun and celebrate the support that's around us and be in an energy of gratitude. And as well, my intention in this call is for us all to take another level of radical responsibility for our life, because this call is designed to support you to get into alignment. And it's when we are in alignment that things truly unfold seamlessly, as well as beyond what we could even imagine in our own minds. So we'll be doing some exercises a little bit later, but I want to talk a little bit at the beginning about why I'm here, what the Elevated Woman is, and why I think you're here too. So a lot of you received the email that I sent out about this training, and I talked briefly about what it means to be an elevated woman, and I want to go into that right now. So I just have everybody place one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly somewhere, and just close your eyes for a moment, and we'll just drop in here at the very beginning of this training and this transmission. I want you to just take a few breaths in and out. And notice where you are in your life, where you are in whatever season you're in, where you are in this year of 2019. Look at what you've created. Look at the challenges you've recently gone through, mentally, emotionally, or externally, or all of the above. And just take a moment to check in with all of the amazing things that have also unfolded in the past years. And very lastly, I want you to check in with your heart and feel that underneath your hands, there is an energy that's pulsating. There's life that is happening. And we'll go into an exercise later to awaken Shakti, the divine feminine energy, but just tap in right now to the subtle warmth and energy that is moving in your body. Because this is your power as a woman. It's the energy that you hold, the sexual potential, the creative power, the love, the wisdom. And in this practice of just taking a moment to acknowledge that, you honor the goddess and let her shine forth. So just bowing your chin to your chest, looking within, bowing to the heart center, the center of feminine power. We'll just close out this opening meditation with just loving gratitude for this space in the body. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. And so the elevated woman, we'll just briefly talk about what she is, who she is, how you are connected to her. She is an archetype that has birthed in the work that I do in the world in the last 2 years. And she is profound. I say the elevated woman is an activator and an initiator for a higher potential on the planet. And she knows that her value exists way beyond this external world, and that her true value really arises from her energy. So she's a master of energy. She's energetically intelligent. And in doing so, she goes out into the world, is tapped into her heart, she's tapped into source, she's tapped into the earth, and she's tapped into the hearts of other people. She's tapped into herself in the eyes of another. So when she steps out into the world, she has this activating effect because she's holding certain frequencies. I call them the elevated feminine frequencies of pure love, of compassion, kindness, humility, because humility is what allows her to call in the wisdom. There's wisdom, humility, truth, honor, integrity, elegance. There's so many more too, but she holds these frequencies at such a pristine level that the world around her begins to respond. So if you are having an experience of, I don't know why everybody in here has shown up today. I don't know the specific whys. I don't know the specific intentions, but I'll just list off some of the things that you may be going through that I've definitely gone through in my past and transformed. But if you're here because, if you're here for love and you're wanting to attract deep, soulful, soulmate level love, the elevated woman knows that she cannot settle. So it's really stepping into, oh, Chesta, beautiful. I love that. So yeah, if you have any comments or things that pop up, I try to not distract myself continuously, but I'll definitely look at the comments and address them. So please ask questions or add your comments as you want. So the elevated woman, there's an inability, like a visceral and physical inability to settle for an energy that doesn't match her at her highest level. So you may have experienced in love and relationship where, maybe you are attracting men, but they're not necessarily men that you're super, super attracted to. Or you're attracting guys and you're going on dates with guys, but they're not taking the relationship forward. They're not necessarily seeing the value that you hold in this world. Or thirdly, maybe you are in a relationship, but just questioning maybe it feels like more of a drain on your energy. So if any of this sounds familiar or anything close to it, what I want to point you toward is that the fundamental shift that I want to support you to create is the level by which you're owning your own energy. Because when you own your full power as an elevated woman, you realize that most of this world is actually living at this capped potential and not open to the full stream of power that's available and not open to the full stream of wisdom that's available. But by being here in this container, in this community, my goal is to support you to step into the full expanded potential of your power as a woman. And by doing so, maybe the whole world isn't quite there yet, but you get to be the woman who activates that potential on the planet. So just by being just a man being in your presence alone is activating. Just by being out in the world and, going to the grocery store and a little girl, you just see this little girl just staring at you and she's just looking at you and that she's actually seeing the goddess and she's seeing beyond the physical form. She's noticing the power of this beautiful woman's energy and she feels something. And so often your power as a woman is unseen. It's actually the energy that you're transmitting and the energy that you're holding that is the initiation for the world around you. So anyway, just wanted to check in and see how this is landing. If you feel, let's see, what's a good question for this? Yeah, I'm just curious if you have had this kind of experience before. I do get that experience that from children. I love that. Yeah, I have had all these types. Yes, I experienced all these types of men. Yes, I share your vision. Good. And animals too. Yes, animals. Good. So thanks for those shares. So yeah, we're really here. And my vision, my intention for my purpose here in the world is to help women understand at a cellular and energetic level the value that they bring. So it's remembering and activating the true elevated feminine power on this planet. I'm doing it in this specific stream. There's a lot of other women doing it in other ways as well. So it's a great question, Shauna, one moment. So yeah, so I just wanted to like brief with that and share with you what we're doing here in this whole container. And so the exercises that I do, that I'll take you through, if you're in the Elevated Feminine or the Elevated Woman year-long immersion program, which I'll talk about in a little bit, what we're doing on a monthly basis is tapping in and activating your energy so that over time it elevates, and more importantly, you rewire your understanding to that power. Because there's a lot of work out there, and there's a lot of there's a lot of personal development work out there, and so much of it I've done. It's so powerful, and we can have this mindset going into any self-development program of an outcome-based desire. You know, we can go into something believing that so I'm signing up for this program because I want that desired outcome. So we're going into transformation with a results-oriented programming, which it seems like, yeah, that's of course, why else would I do it? But what I want to okay, I get just so distracted. What I want to remind you of is that yes, it's empowering to go into any transformation with an intention, but we as a society are conditioned and trained right now to go into it with a results-oriented mindset, which is actually a masculine mindset. And it undermines the true transformation that can happen. So as women, if we're stepping into like a diet routine that's very, very, very rigid, we are, in order to follow that diet routine, we actually have to suppress the feminine energy within us, because the feminine energy within us is, it's much more dynamic and fluid and changing. So if we're locked into a diet routine or an exercise routine, oftentimes what's happening is we're just stepping into our masculine energy and activating and strengthening that, while this feminine energy is again just floundering and feeling suppressed and feeling unseen and undervalued. So the whole premise with the year-long immersion is that transformation in a feminine way is compassionate and soothing and deep and dark, really. It's going through all of the seasons and letting there be an incubation time and letting change happen, just like a tree goes through the seasons and a flower goes through the seasons, and it is first a seed and then it sprouts and then it blooms and then it dies. And so this transformation takes time. So that's another thing I want you to look at in your life is, how am I focusing on the results rather than the process? Because I truly know from my own experience and just the information I received is that for as long as we are results oriented in our behavior, we are continuously perpetuating this suppression of the feminine. The feminine doesn't care about the result. She is about the process and about feeling good. So lastly, what I'll say before I address some of these comments is, when you step into the flow and when you step into the process, you're actually stepping into flow state. So results oriented is like a rigid state of being. Process oriented is a flow state, because you're flowing with what comes. And it's only in flow state that we truly receive that divine penetration of the universe. You know, this breath, this inspiration, spirit is penetrating the soul. The divine masculine is here guiding us, providing for us, loving us, sending us light. The sun is huge around the divine masculine, so we'll talk about that in honor of the summer solstice. There is so much love coming towards you in every moment, but how much are you allowing yourself to surrender? And how much are you allowing yourself to receive? How much are you allowing yourself to respond to that guidance? So look at your personal relationships in love. Surrender, receive, and respond are all feminine energy words and frequencies. So if you find that you have a hard time letting go of control in a relationship, or you know you're showing up masculine in your relationship and maybe being a little bit competitive, again, my invitation to you is to expand that viewpoint and work on your relationship with the divine guidance of the universe, because that's the true divine masculine presence that's constantly in your life, no matter what your partner is doing. If you build up such trust with that force, then you step up into your full power as a woman, because you're allowing yourself to be penetrated by these forces that want to take you farther than you've ever gone before. The universe wants to make love to you, but your ability to let go and trust and completely surrender your expectations and be taken on a journey that's so much bigger, that's what we're here doing. So how is that landing? Yeah, okay, good, yeah. I'm just gonna check in with some of this. Thanks so much for commenting. So Shauna is asking about taking this power to a legal situation, which is so logical and proof-driven. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of radical in this, and I believe that we are creating every single thing in our life, and that's one of the exercises that I'm going to do is, we are creating every single thing in our life. So to a T, down to the most challenging and traumatic events. I had a really deep awakening recently around the trauma that I've experienced in my life, realizing that I actually, at 7 years old, I sourced a pretty major trauma in my life. But for my whole life, I was seeing myself as a victim to that event. But I recently, through my own healing work, got to the truest thing I've ever felt, which is that I actually, at 2 years old, began to source and create this opportunity at 7 years old to go through a mini death and to get the special care and treatment that this event caused in my life. So I want to take you through an exercise a little bit later about, okay, really taking radical responsibility for what you've created, because then you realize that there's no difference between the universe out here and the universe in here. This made of the same stuff. You are that. So how could you not be the one creating everything in your life? That being said, there's a lot in this physical dense world that is operating in a frequency that is just not as empowered as it could be. For example, I studied neuroscience, and I was in the field of neuroscience, mindfulness, technology, that whole world, which is actually it's amazing. It's really fun to be in that world. However, I was having the experience of meeting people who wouldn't go into the depths of a spiritual conversation without the backing and the evidence of science-based evidence. And I started to, at first I would get very, I would start to feel like I needed to prove myself to these people who weren't necessarily believing what I was saying because it wasn't scientifically backed up. And then I realized that was me plugging into this masculine paradigm that is everything I stand against, where we're basically limiting our potential by saying if it's not proven by numbers and evidence, then it's not real. And to me, if we're in that mindset, then we're fully discrediting the feminine. And we're continuing the perpetuation of the suppression of the feminine. Because the feminine is about the unseen. It's about the mystical and magical underworld of the creative imagination. So it's the infinite possibilities of that are held in our womb. Like, we have the power as women to birth life onto this planet from just an impulse and a seed. We can create something out of nothing. So yes, it's scientifically proven, but there's also stuff that we can't prove by science. So my point is that, the legal system is very much in this past paradigm. And if you're really going to step up into the archetype of the elevated woman, you can acknowledge like that we are in this physical world, and yes, we deal with these masculine paradigms sometimes, and you have a higher vision for the world. And that when you're really tapped into the energy, you can feel into the frequency of that paradigm, and actually send compassion and love to it, because it's not all that it's cracked up to be. It's not as powerful as it, is expressing. There's a lot of wounded energy in that system right now. So knowing that you have the power to create everything that you want, focus less on, my invitation to you is just, I don't know if you're in a legal situation right now or not, but recognize that this thing that might seem like it has so much power actually doesn't. It's just built up its strength because this world is built up in this masculine paradigm, but true power is this unseen realm. And not everybody is stepping into that yet, but you get to as an elevated woman. So the whole point in that is I began to realize that, yes, I have this science background. I love science. I actually think science is completely spiritual. There's so much symbolism in science. There's so much spiritual symbolism in science, from the action potential of a neuron to the beat of a heart. Like, there's the impulse, the electrical impulses that are going through our whole body. There's so much symbolism inside of science, but we put science first. And I personally believe that just caps our potential. So how could we have proven everything? Like, if we want to prove everything, then we're literally saying, I want to live in this box and not be open to more. That's not what the elevated woman does. She is constantly asking the question of, what question can I ask now that I don't even know I need to ask, that will give me the wisdom that people are craving and desiring or will need 10 years from now. She's always expanding the limits and pressing out that potential, because we as individuals and as human beings are here so that the universe can expand through us. So if we are locking down on our potential, we're not actually a vessel by which that spirit can flow through us and that energy can flow through us. So we are capping the universe's potential. Does that make sense? So I do get a little bit out there and esoteric, and just know that if you don't understand it, if it doesn't land in your head, your body is receiving it. And that there's a language and a frequency that's being transmitted that your body is picking up, and your heart and your subconscious mind, which is actually the goddess. So maybe your head is not fully comprehending every single thing I'm saying, or it is, but your body is the receptacle, and it's pulling out exactly what it needs from this conversation. So I hope that helps, Shauna. You've taught me that my value is my energy. It's good to hear you live because I enjoy seeing how grounded you are. Oh, yeah. It's been a crazy last year. I've been all over the place, and still a little bit all over the place. I'm moving to San Diego. I'm here in Humboldt County, and then I'm going to, anyway, it's definitely been crazy. So I'm happy to be grounded as well. Sarah, I feel this is such an important lesson. We are taught as little girls that we need to be more than just a woman to be seen. You need to prove yourself in some way to be worthwhile. It's an amazing thing to realize that just being a woman on this earth is enough. It's incredibly empowering. Yes, Sarah, it's more than enough. It's by being a woman who knows that all you need to do is be, you become like the most valuable woman on this planet right now. So by knowing that your value is just inherent, that's why you become such an important being on this planet, because you then are reminding other women of that truth. And you're also reprogramming men, and you're birthing new men into this earth with the knowing that this woman, this mother, this goddess is so incredibly powerful and important to me. That's the message that you allow the world to send back to you by holding that energy in yourself. Good. I feel that, Anya, the results-oriented mindset feels very draining. Yes, very true. So draining. And it's another way that, you know, for when we're drained, when we're distracted by the way our body looks or the diet, that if you're constantly thinking about food, or constantly thinking about your body, or you're constantly thinking about work and money and like the external circumstances that you're living in, your energy is being drained. And that's Shakti. That's sexual energy that is draining out of your body. So it's your choice, again, to plug in and get programmed with, hold on one sec, I'll slow down. So there's lots of ways that our power, our Shakti force is being drained on the planet. One of the ways is through food and body image and diet, and our focus on that. Another way is through, through our body image is the second way. It's like exercise and wanting to be perfect and plug it all in. Third is money and this fear-based energy that we have in relation to money or our career. If you're feeling in any three of those areas that you're putting a lot of focus on any of those three areas, that's a massive energy leak in your life. And the energy that I'm talking about, it's your divine feminine energy. It's your Shakti force, which is the creative potential of the universe that exists in your own body. And it's the sexual potential. So you're literally draining your sexual energy by plugging into these paradigms of, and I do it too sometimes. So it's just about, you know, continuously retraining ourselves. But I came from the background of definite eating disorders and needing like multiple breakdowns a day if I wasn't in control of the food that I was eating and the exercise that I could do. And if I couldn't exercise every single day, it was there's no way I wouldn't be in a breakdown, crying and upset. Or if there wasn't vegetables in the meal, there was a point in my life where if I didn't have raw vegetables to eat, I would be in full-on breakdown mode. So the consumption, the energy drain that was happening in my life, it was like literally 50 to 70% of my energy was being drained. My sexual power was being drained because I was plugged into these paradigms that were designed for that. You know, my sexual energy is valuable and it was going somewhere. So that's another thing to look at, is your sexual energy is so valuable. Where is it going? Are you actually holding it and containing it, or is it going somewhere? I'm doing a training this summer on body image, on food, on healing your relationship with food and diet and exercise in a feminine energy way. If you join the immersion, the year-long immersion, you get 10% off of that training because it's going to be a bit of a bigger training. And so if you want to know more about that, email me after this call because we can talk, because, oh my God, I'm so excited. It's stuff I've never really addressed publicly, only in small ways, but it's a massive part of the work I do. So anyway, I'm going to move on, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying there. I feel like I'm I am closer to consciousness when I abstain from sugar. I cannot seem to indulge in. So yeah, I would say definitely do definitely do the body image training, because that will address all of that. Like if you have sugar issues, we'll address all of that from a feminine energy standpoint, because it's the answer that I would give you is way different than what I think you might expect. So Sarah, we're almost taught from birth that we need to be masculine, but we have a goal. We have to hide our emotions, etc. Yeah, totally. We do, because our society as a whole has valued that energy more than the feminine. And it's just simply by not plugging into that reality that's how you stand out as an elevated woman, because it doesn't matter what other people are thinking. When you're holding the truth, which is that the divine masculine and divine feminine are equal in their power in different ways, and you are fully embodied in your divine feminine energy and your inner divine masculine as well, you are a beacon of truth, and truth transcends and truth transmutes. So everywhere you go, people are looking to you because you're holding something so valuable. You're holding a remembrance of the truth. And in that, you initiate them to realize that as well. All right. So just everybody put your hand over your heart and take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. Just ground in your body and feel the energy slow down. Okay. So I'm just going to address these for about 2 more minutes, and then we'll move into an exercise. So just keep any questions that you have till the end, and we can go a little bit over. I might cut off the recording, but we can go a little over perhaps if we need to, or it will be in perfect timing. So let's see. It's letting go of the expectations from outcome and enjoying the journey and process by simply being. I'm with you. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you. Beautiful reflection. This is true in all aspects of life. I'm still stuck on money. Just want a fast forward button. Yes. So, but just see what so this is the exercise I want to do with you guys. I'll do it in a second. Okay, I fully understand your lingo. That's funny. I can feel what you're saying. Yes. But leaning back and allowing is so hard. I will do it because I love myself. And just know that it might feel uncomfortable at the beginning, but, oh, hi, Elise. It might feel uncomfortable at the beginning, but it will become your natural way of being, because it is your natural way of being, and you just conditioned yourself out of that natural way of being. So, that's why the immersion is a year-long program, because it does take time, but it's a permanent transformation. It's not like, it's not like just a month-long or even a week-long thing. This is not, I do those trainings and they're very impactful, and they can be very impactful, but there's something really empowering about being in a container and your intention for a long time. So leaning back will feel very natural by the end of that. So I have those energy leaks. As I get older, I realize I'm afraid to become invisible to men. Interesting. All right. My feminine energy likes to spend money. Okay. So I want you to write down 3 of the most challenging things that you're going through right now in your life. And this could also be like, focus more on the stories that you're plugged into most often. It could be a story around the trauma that you had when you were a kid, and how you don't know that you'll be able to have the love experience that you want because of this trauma, or the sexual experience that you had because of this trauma. What stories have followed you through your life that you still carry today, and that maybe when you're with a new partner, or you just find yourself telling other people this story often, or yourself this story often. It could be around food, it could be around money, your body image, your kids, your husband, your ex. just write down 1 to 3 stories that you are holding on to. All right, so I'll give you about 2 minutes to do that. Another way to look at this is just, what's the most challenging thing that you're going through in your life right now? Okay, so looking at these belief systems and challenges that you carry, which one do you think is the most important to address? Okay, thank you for sharing. Yeah, if you want to share them, that's great, that's perfect, but you don't have to. I have to work hard and do everything on my own. I am never supported. Having trouble manifesting committed relationship to soulmate. Okay. I'm not good enough. I always fail. I don't know how to be successful. Okay, so pick the one that makes you feel the most squeezed in this moment. Just pick the one that makes you feel the most like, oh, like that one hurts, you know? They may all have some charge, but just pick the one that you really feel intense around. Okay, so now I want you to, before writing, just receive this question and let answers arise up from within your body. It might take a moment. I want you to ask yourself, what do you get out of? What do you get out of never being supported? What do you get out of feeling like and carrying the story and telling the story again and again to yourself and others that you always have to do it all by yourself, that you're never supported? That's just an example. So write your answer to yourself first, and then in a moment I'll have you share. And I want you to go really deep into this. So what do you get out of believing that you'll never be with your lover and never be able to manifest him? So just take a moment, you can close your eyes and ask yourself, what do I get out of carrying this story? And it might take long. I usually do this with private clients, so I can help them kind of pull it out. But I want you to start asking this question because it reminds you that you are the one creating everything. You're the one that's holding on to this story. If you're holding on to any belief system, you're getting something out of it. So what are you getting out of this pattern? You're benefiting in some way. How are you benefiting from this pattern? So let's take another minute to just allow the answers to come and write it out. If you have any questions, then feel free to ask me the questions. how does this situation perhaps allow you to stay safe? How does this pattern allow you to be right? How does this pattern allow you to avoid responsibility and ownership? What do you get out of holding on to this pattern? You're getting something out of it, so what is it? All right, so if anybody wants to share what they discovered, and no, this is like a very brief version of this exercise that's more in depth, but it's so powerful to, and even to the point of injuries, if you have an ongoing injury, like, if you have an ongoing injury that you've had your whole life, ask yourself, what do I get out of this injury? How do I benefit from this injury or this pain in my back or this pain in my knee or ankle? How do I benefit from holding on to it? Because if you're truly tapped into the truth, miracle healings can happen in an instant because it's fully lining up with the fact that you are energy, and that energy is constantly transforming and moving and changing. So you're not a fixed system. And the more you empower yourself by remembering that you ultimately can change everything about your life. And I mean, our cells regenerate every, I forget how many years, but every so many years, you become a physically different person anyway. So the cells are holding a program and belief system and frequencies and energies. And it's very quantum. The way of looking at this, it's very, it's out there, but I'm here to help you expand your possibility. And if I can push out what you believe possible for yourself, then I'm doing my job. Because now that you're even jolted around and jostled around a little bit, just thinking outside of the box, you're able to receive more energy. So this is the last thing I'll say before we go into one more exercise. But so we have this status quo, right? There's a lot of people who are programmed and plugged into this status quo. We're all participating in the status quo in some way. I get sympathy. I give myself sympathy. Then it must make me feel better because I really don't want to do the work. Yeah, if you're like, okay, this is one of my patterns would be, I would get overwhelmed in the past, and when I got overwhelmed, I would go into an emotional breakdown, and I would become this like emotional victim, and I would call in support from everybody around me. But what was really happening is I was avoiding the work that I really needed to do, like actual work. I needed to do work, and I was avoiding it because when I was in the breakdown, the emotional breakdown, then I could avoid that responsibility, like for as long as I was in the emotional breakdown, I couldn't work. So I'd manifest emotional breakdown to avoid the work. So you see how it's like the patterns that we think we're blaming something, but we're actually curating and creating it again and again and again. So that's a perfect example. So basically what's true about me today doesn't have to be true about me tomorrow. Exactly. And yes, so the healing, sometimes we do alchemy work, in this container specifically, I guide people through an alchemical healings where we'll go into pain points and pressure points and dense points and bring love and light into those spaces, literally the frequencies, and then they disperse and transmute and transform. So it's very quantum and it's quite instant, but also, yes, just your beliefs alone are programming your whole subconscious system and your body. So if you can think of your thoughts as the masculine energy and your body, your heart as the feminine energy, and your subconscious mind is definitely the feminine energy. Whatever thoughts you're thinking, this is a relationship. This is your relationship with the divine masculine. So if you're saying to yourself, you're fat, you don't look good in that picture, you know, you're ugly, how could you ever attract a man, or you're not successful enough, or you need to get it together, what are you doing? And you're angry and you're upset at yourself or in judgment, that's you in a relationship with the divine masculine. So my question to you is, are you in an abusive relationship with the divine masculine? Are you letting the penetration of thoughts, are you allowing that energy into your system? Or do you have a loving, beautiful, empowering, and supportive relationship with the divine masculine? Are you is that energy penetrating you with thoughts of upliftment and support and compassion, patience and kindness, and unconditional love? Because that's what we obviously are. We get to create that in our relationships romantically. So first step is to create that relationship in yourself. And in doing so, you can shift it instantly, and everything, so who you are today is not who you are tomorrow. And a lot of it has to do with thoughts you're thinking and the energies you're allowing yourself to feel in every moment. So everybody take a deep breath in and out. We'll just do one more like that together. So last thing I'll say before we go into this last exercise is, we as human beings are energy, and we are consciousness. We are awareness. And the reason on a tantric, in Eastern tantric philosophy, we are here as individuals so that consciousness can expand through us. The eyes that we are looking out at the world on, and the internal gaze that we are aware of, that we can become aware of our body through, that's consciousness and awareness. And so when you go on a trip, when you go somewhere you've never gone before, your consciousness expands and you see something that you've never seen before. When a little baby is growing up, consciousness is so much an expansion through that little vessel, because there's an expansion happening. And you can think about like babies and kids, they do hold the spiritual energy. There's this softness and sweetness and love that's so present inherently in their system. And I've never said this before, it's just coming through right now. And this is the live transmission, that it's because they're in the energy of expansion that spirit can come into their bodies so deeply. And so I want you to start to see that, when you're plugged into the status quo, yes, you're still expanding, right? But it's when you actually step outside of the box and you stand as an outlier or a disruptor to the status quo, that now energy will just run to you. You'll attract so much light and love and support from the universe when you begin to expand your system and step outside of the box. Because if consciousness wants to expand, yes, it's continuously expanding through this status quo, but it's going to expand a lot more through you as an outlier and disruptor. Because now there's a way that just through this one vessel, so much expansion and transformation can happen. That's what our lives can be like. When each of us open to the infinite possibilities, they flow to us. But if you're trapped and locked into the paradigm of contracted possibilities, then you're, choosing to be in that, there's nothing wrong with it, but you're here. And if you're here in this container, there's something that your soul is calling toward the elevated woman, and being that activator and being that initiator, which naturally means that you get to be a disruptor and an outlier in many ways. Maybe you've already felt like an outlier in some ways in your life. And I want to empower you to know that whatever you have felt makes you different in a bad way, or maybe there's something wrong with you, or, you know, they seem to have all that together. Like, why am I not able to figure that out? It's for a reason. It's because the universe is asking that you open yourself as a vessel to expand in new ways. So I'm here to support you to step into that courageously and know that the moment you surrender to your power that has been knocking on your door this whole lifetime, the moment you surrender to that infinite potential that wants to be with you, your life will transform and shoot up in massively incredible directions. So that's when you get to get very clear on your purpose and why you're here, what transformation you want to make in the world or in your own life. You get to break the mold in an instant. And the moment that happens, you step into flow state and everything unfolds beyond your wildest dreams. So I want to invite you into the year-long immersion, which I am leading, that is starting. This is technically the first call, but I'll be doing another call this month. So you get two live transitions this month, but every single month we'll be meeting very much like this, and we'll go through a live transmission of information as well as exercises to help you unlock and awaken the divine feminine energy within. And we're doing it specifically in honor of the elevated woman presence, an archetype that is here in this container. And, you know, again, to support every one of you to step up into that full expression of yourself. So we'll get to be able to know each other throughout the year. I might offer, you know, I most likely will offer some sort of one-on-one call with me, whether it be a super discounted rate or something. But my intention is I really want to get to know who you are, because those that are in this year-long immersion, it's really the bridge, and it's really the stepping stone to stepping up into this work at deeper and deeper levels. You know, perhaps doing teacher training later on, or another deeper group training. So if you do want to do the year-long immersion, then you get 10% off of all the other things that I create this upcoming year. So the feminine activation trainings, I'm going to be doing a whole nother series of those live, which are super powerful to do live. So if you want to join and do those live, then you can join at a discounted rate. So, but yeah, so just look at the feminine energy immersion program that's happening right now. It's at a founding members rate for the next, it is only 20 spots. So there's only 7 spots left at that rate. And I might open up more tomorrow for those people on the replay. But if you want to get in at the founding members rate, which is $297 if you pay up front, or $33 a month for the year, then I would hop on that, because there's only a limited number of spots at that container. In 2 months, it's going to be going up to $697. So it's like this crazy low price right now that won't ever happen again. So I'd love for you to get in now and get locked in at that rate. All right. That being said, I want to do one final exercise, and I will. Yeah, so for the live calls, because everybody will be joining from different places in the world, I will be doing the live calls sort of in a rotation. So 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And we'll be hitting, because I want to be completely fair and open for everyone. And yeah, and just rotate it so that everybody gets to feel like they can join live at some point in the year. All right. All right, so I'm not going to answer personal questions right now because we're running out of time. But I think you're saying, I used to have energy leak to this. Now I'm glad that I felt free when I fully surrendered and own my power. I love it. Okay. Okay, and healing and pain in pelvic area. I am avoiding the emotional pain my grown son has been going through and how it has affected his now ex and my 3 grandkids. But it's also causing me to dive deeper into my own divine feminine empowerment. Yeah, good. Love it. So you see how, like, maybe on the outside, like, how could this be a positive experience? But then you look at it from another perspective and see that, oh my gosh, like all of these beautiful things are unfolding. I had a client yesterday. It was such a powerful call, and she realized that the trauma that her her yoni was, the pain that she was experiencing in her yoni, in her sexual region. It was the source of her stepping up into her power, because she missed the ability to be sexual so much that it was the only thing that caused her to step into her own empowerment, because she had to figure it out. And so it was realizing that this experience of trauma, this experience of trauma that she was experiencing again and again and again, was the greatest blessing. And she ended up thinking this space in her body that had caused her so much pain. So very instantaneous healing was very powerful. All right, so we'll just finish with a beautiful exercise that will help you recognize the elevated woman in yourself. And if any of you have questions that aren't answered in this live training, I won't be able to go super in depth through email, but feel free to shoot me an email, and I'd love to connect with you that way. I know a lot of you've been here in the past, and Chessa, maybe even Shauna. I love you guys. So thanks for being here. I just want to say that first and foremost, thank you for being here. If you have to go, no prob. I'm just going to do about 5 or 10 minutes of one more activation to allow you to feel into the energies of the elevated woman for yourself. All right? So we'll start just placing one hand over your heart. I love to put my other hand over my belly. And close your eyes and just take a deep breath in and out. And just feel your body relax. And feel, if you can, or even just imagine that every cell of your body is vibrating. That between the cells is space. And that the spaciousness holds light and love. And that the energy within every cell that creates the walls of every cell, that is every bit of your body. There's a vibration and a pulsation happening with these waves of energy. That waves and pulsation is the energy of the goddess. It's movement. So feel into the goddess energy that you are. Good. Take a deep breath in. A deep breath out. I want you to see yourself 6 months to a year from now, living in your highest possibility. In this vision of yourself, notice where you are. Notice if you're outside somewhere. Maybe notice if you're at a party with friends. Just observe, notice where you are. Notice what you're wearing, and notice how what you're wearing responds to the air, the weather around you. If there's a slight breeze or a strong wind or a warmth in the air, just notice how you and whatever you're wearing are in flow with your environment. Take a deep breath in. Notice the skin. Notice how you are glowing. Observe your hair and the beauty that you are emanating. And dive into the experience that this woman is having. How do you feel in your physical body? Notice how you feel in your physical body. What emotions are present in your heart? How do you feel in your legs? How do you feel as you press your feet into the ground below you? Feel these energies of empowerment, these elevated feminine frequencies. Take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. I want you to see if there is a partner, divine mate, divine masculine energy near you. Perhaps this is a current lover or your future lover. And notice where they are. Perhaps invite them into the picture. And watch your interaction, observing how that person stands in front of you, or comes up beside you, or simply witnesses you from afar. Notice how you look at that person or how you feel just knowing that they are there loving you. Now invite friends and family into the picture, maybe slightly distant, but feel the sound, hear the sounds of children screeching and playing, sound of friends and family talking and loving and sharing time together. Feel your energy empowered in this presence. And carrying this energy of elevation and love, connected to wisdom and guidance and truth, gracefully walk into their picture. And the moment that they see you, the moment that these little children see you, they're hit with something. They're hit with an energy. And everyone stops what they're doing just for a split second, because they can't help but pause to digest what just hit them. That in your presence, they are hit with a wave of truth and love. That you are emitting such a beautiful frequency of warmth and kindness and healing, holding the energy of truth, that these individuals cannot help but to notice and to be activated by you. Feel how, even if their response is short-lived and small, The impact that you've made on an energetic level is continuous. We are all connected. And by you stepping into your highest self, you heal the masses, you initiate the masses, you transform the masses, and you continue to gain energy and love, support, and guidance from the universe itself. So feel the impact that you have in this world. Allow yourself to be willing, perhaps, granting yourself permission to take radical responsibility and step out on a limb from this moment forward, remembering that you are the creator of everything in your life, even the most challenging, heartbreaking, and traumatic situations. That somehow everything is here to support your evolution and the expansion of consciousness. So as you step into these shoes and receive this information, how do you feel in this moment? How do you feel in this moment in your body, right here, right now? Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. Allowing this activation, this transmission to settle into your body, to be plugged in and programmed into you, your truth, whatever resonates with you, gets to ground inside of your bones, of your muscles, your blood, your organs, your skin, your fascia. Every bit of you absorbs this truth, whatever resonates with you. Good. And very lastly, place your hands over your heart. Draw your chin to your chest and bow into your goddess center of power. Perhaps placing your hands together, palms touching, and just resting your forehead on your pointed fingers. Honoring this intuitive, creative imagination within. And so it is. And when you're ready, you can come back and open your eyes. And just want to say thank you for joining. Thank you for being here today. And that last bit was definitely the live transition that came through today. So just observe how you feel. Notice how you feel. You can share it briefly if you want. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you very soon. I'm just going to wait one more moment and see if anybody has any last bit. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Beautiful. So check out the feminine energy immersion. You have a link in the email, same email that this link was in. The year-long program. If you have any questions about it, you can email me. There are probably less than 7 spots now in it, so make sure to get it at the founding members rate. And if you want more information about this year's trainings, okay, I hope you're okay. If you need more information about this year's trainings, let me know. Good. All right, love you guys. Talk to you soon.